Faith is one of those words that people use all the time, but very few people actually explain what it really looks like. Some people think faith means that you never doubt again. Others think faith means you always feel confident and sure of yourself. But if you've been following God for any amount of time, at this point you probably know that's not always how it works. So in this video, I want to share 3 truths about faith that completely change the way that I see my relationship with God. Hey everyone, my name is David. I'm a pastor, and I like creating content that encourages people in their faith and helps them navigate real life with God. Because the truth is, following Jesus does not mean life suddenly becomes easy. But it does mean that you do not have to walk through this life alone. So if you're someone who's trying to grow in your faith, or maybe you're just trying to understand God better, I hope this video encourages you. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions about faith is that faith means you always feel confident and sure of yourself. But the Bible never once says faith is about feelings. Hebrews 11:1 says, faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see. Now, notice something very important about that verse. Faith is about trusting something you cannot see yet, which means there are going to be moments in this life and in your walk with God when you do not feel confident. There's going to be moments when you feel uncertain. There will even be moments when you're praying and you're wondering if God is even listening anymore. But let me tell you something. Those moments do not mean that your faith is weak. In fact, those are often the moments when your faith is actually growing and you don't even realize it yet. Faith is not the absence of doubt. Faith is choosing to trust God, even when your emotions are loud and drowning out everything else. Another thing that changed my perspective about faith is realizing that God very rarely works instantly. Most of the time, He works through process. The problem is that we live in a culture that wants immediate results. But spiritual growth usually happens pretty slowly. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. Notice a word that is missing from there, and that word is instantly. It does not say God works instantly. It says God works in all things. That means even the difficult seasons. That means even the hard times, even the confusing seasons, even the seasons where it feels like absolutely nothing is happening. Sometimes the season you think is a setback is actually preparation for something God is doing in your life right now, or that He's going to do in your life in the near future. Faith means trusting that God is still working even when you cannot see the full picture. And the last truth that changed my understanding of faith is realizing that faith is not about being perfect. It's about having a relationship with God. A lot of people feel like they have to get their life together before they come to God. They have to be perfect. But the gospel is actually the opposite of that. Jesus did not come for people who had everything figured out. He came for people who needed grace. He came for the brokenhearted and the ones who don't have it all together. John 15:5 says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. In other words, growth in your faith comes from staying connected to Jesus, not from trying to be perfect, not from pretending you have absolutely everything together, but from walking with him day by day. So if you're someone who's been struggling in your faith lately, let me encourage you with this. Faith does not mean you always feel strong as much as we want to. Faith doesn't mean everything in your life suddenly makes sense. Faith simply means you keep walking with God, even when the road feels uncertain and unfamiliar. And the incredible thing about God is that he is so patient. He is a patient Father. He's patient with our questions. He's patient with our struggles. And he's patient with our growth because he is a good Father. Philippians 1:6 says, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion." Which means if God has started something in your life, he's not finished yet. If this video encouraged you, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment. Let me know. What's something that has strengthened your faith recently? What's something you're struggling with? Is there anything I can help you pray about? Any ideas for a future video, something you want more information about? And if you enjoy this kind of content, please consider subscribing because I post encouragement and faith-based videos regularly. You've got this. If you will just keep walking. If you will just keep trying. Sometimes the best you can do is just stand. Sometimes the best you can do is just get out of bed and keep going. And here's the thing. Yes, God asks for our best, but he understands that every day our best is going to look a little bit different. Some days you've got all the energy, all the drive, all of the motivation. And some days those tanks are running on empty. And God understands this. Of course he understands this. He created you. He made you. He knows how you work. He knows how your brain works. He knows what you're going through, even if you're not telling him about it. He knows what you're dealing with. He knows how much energy it took to get out of bed this morning. He knows how hard it is sometimes to just smile. And he knows that your best is going to look different every day. It's important that you know that too. You understand that. God gives us abundant grace. But unfortunately, we often neglect to give ourselves grace. So give yourself some grace. Everything's going to work out. He's working out a plan. He's working something fantastic in your life. You just don't see it yet. God bless you. And I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day.